commentary that I actually really appreciate.
Uh-oh, wait a minute. We might be about to go live. Um, let's see. Where we at? Where is it? Oh, okay. So we are live.
Yay.
Yay, it worked.
Uh,
Let's see if we can see it.
Can you hear me well enough?
I can hear you good.
Okay, because this volume is not that good.
So here we are. You made a post the other day, yesterday actually, about us needing to get together for these children. I agreed, and we are check this out, jumping right into action. Um, gonna read your post so that people understand why this was so pertinent for me. For those who are watching, I am Bakita Muhammad. This is Cicely McClendon and McLennan. I don't know why I always want to put a D in your name. But she is, go ahead and introduce yourself, introduce your business, and I'll reintroduce myself for those who may not know.
Okay, hey everybody. I'm Cicely, representing New African Image Makers, which is a media organization which we founded in 2006 in order to help us gain more of a positive impact on the image of African people and also exhibit control over the narrative of the information that we get, meaning to help us um, gain perspective on our reality as it pertains to our African selves, as opposed to looking through other people's lenses, which is what we are uh, we are basically being socialized to do. So we've been around for some time. We have been involved in filmmaking, photography. We just started publishing. New African is an international organization, and my interest in this topic is based on my training with Dr. Africa and also Dr. Akua Gray as a naturopathic doctor, which is something that I've never marketed myself to be, um, but it is something that I have used in order to develop our family business as well as to take care of myself and my family. And we are deeply engaged in the struggle of being our whole African selves. So that's what led to me basically asking a couple of questions um, here recently surrounding what are we doing to actually help our children, seeing as that they're being inundated um, and basically our children are suffering mentally, their health,
Yep.
um, and so that's pretty much what brings me into this topic in such a public way. Usually, I don't offer any type of advice, uh, medically or clinically or otherwise, unless it's by my own family members and people that know me and know my training. But I have felt compelled, because I do have a background and training that has allowed me to be of some positive um, use to my family, and so I wanted to share that as much as possible, seeing as though we're dealing with a lot of health and mental health crises right now. So
Yeah. So that, because of that, your post brought me to chorus. It really, I have children that are from the age of 5 to 21. And for those who don't know, I am Bakita Muhammad. This is Breaking the Chains. And I felt like this was actually really part of us breaking the chains that we wear, mentally and emotionally, uh, and having children in that age range. I remember saying to you, I think we even need to drop the age range to by 9. Your post said, I'm about ready to call a round table for all my friends with children from the age of 12 to 25. We need to have a talk. We seem to be operating as if we don't have a mental and health a health and mental health crisis. I can't pretend it's not happening. And there were several people who commented saying, that this is definitely something that we needed to discuss. They wanted to talk about this, and we needed to go even deeper. Um, One even mentioned that this is a spiritual and a chemical warfare that we're dealing with, which absolutely is the case. And this is why I jumped in, and I'm like, hey, whatever it is that I can do to support you, I got a Zoom. I can support a conference or something, whatever we need to do, or however I can help. I'm willing to do that, which is why I'm here with you right now. This was not something that we could wait on. Like, we've talked about it before, and we said, we need to do something about this. But seeing your post, it really, for what, I don't know why, it just really put a little fire up under me. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. We need to do something now.
right.
So here we are. You and I have been discussing how we want to go about this. And right now we want to be able to reach out to the people and let them know that, hey, this is what we're trying to do. Can you let the public know what it is that you want us to do, right now?
Well, right now I want us to um get prepared for our first I guess we're calling it round table for lack of a better word. That's gonna be Wednesday evening. So that's number one. But Keita has a couple of films that she would like everybody to check out, which is Social Dilemma.
Social Dilemma, and I think it's called The Code. They're both on Netflix,
Okay.
and
And
they
I
give,
haven't seen either one, so I'll watch both of those too.
yeah, they give some stats on what it is that these children are dealing with. Um, they give real data on what it is that we're seeing and how it is that we even got here. Like, this hasn't happened by just happenstance. This was pretty much the agenda. And we kind of, I won't say that we played into it, because nobody would know how nefarious these people, we know how nefarious they are, but you don't know how calculated it is. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
one thing I think we brought up the recent statistics about the explosive suicide rates in young African girls in America. And normally I'm the person that turns the stat upside down, and look
Right.
at it like they're lying. Usually they're using they're getting the data, but it's data is not um data by itself means nothing. It's the
Right.
meaning and the way that you read it and the context that you give it that make it mean something. Well, the context of that data for me is that every week I'm dealing with a family or a mental health breakdown in my own family,
Right.
um, or amongst my friends. I'm dealing with, attempted suicides more than ever. Like prior to the last couple of years, we may have heard of one or two cases, but in this last couple of years, it's been explosive and I'm feeling it, I'm seeing it, and I'm experiencing it. And I refuse to just sit back and not do whatever I could do to try to lend support and be a support and call on, my fellow parents in my community for support for even what I'm facing.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing. We want, let's get a little bit of background. Um, you ain't, it's not a study group or anything like that, but at least apprise yourself of the macro situation. And then we'll get closer and closer to dealing with our own specific issues. And I think between not just Bakita and myself, but through the people that we're reaching out to, there's quite a few resources at our fingertips. So I
Exactly.
don't want anybody to feel like hope is lost and just all throw it away. We're not the kind of people to walk around with our tail between our legs. It's time for us to face this, and we're gonna face it together. So hopefully Wednesday we'll get started with the most simple, basic things that we're putting out there that everybody can start working on. These are not solutions that require a boatload of money, or anything like that. How you can clearly see that both Bakita and I are repats. We are people that live and were born in America, but who have decided to live and work on the continent of Africa. Um, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But
We'll
we
get to
we're
that.
not even we're not even there yet. We gotta live first.
Exactly.
So that's the part that we really want to focus on and talk about how to get ourselves in just a state of mind where we can be able to take advantage of all the opportunities that Africa has. They land at our feet, but we can't even see them because of all this stuff surrounding us. So Wednesday is all about laying out just a few, like almost like emergency procedures.
Yeah.
We all get the preschool treatment in America. If you went to preschool, it's two things you learn: stop, drop, and roll during a fire, and you learn about officer friendly. And I don't have no problem with stop, drop, and roll, but that's not the only emergency we need to be prepared for.
Right.
So we're gonna go through our mental health stop, drop, and roll
Yeah.
um, on Wednesday. And the officer friendly thing, we'll come back to that too. but but so I don't know what else we need to say about that. But there are some things that we can all do today. If you make, I would say, three changes today, you will start to see an impact. If not on your child, then maybe even yourself, within a very short period of time. It's not all things that can be healed. It's not all things that can be healed quickly, but there's some things that we can do. We can't just give up our power.
We definitely can't give up our power. We So for those of you who are watching, there are only it's a few people on watching right now. Please
Are
share
they watching
this.
us instead of the Super Bowl?
It's not too many people because we do know that the Super Bowl is happening right now. We were a bit conflicted on if we should even broadcast this right now because the Super Bowl is happening. But these are the on the replay. You all can come back and watch it. again, Wednesday, we want to really start to dive in. This may end up having to be something that is, weekly or something for a while. I'm not sure how we haven't decided how we're going to maneuver this just yet, because we are literally like attacking the problem as we figure out how we're gonna help disseminate the solution. Cicely, if you could, because I know some people personally who are having so many challenges with their children right now. What are some of those things that we can do today to get started, even working towards Wednesday?
Well, the most obvious thing that we have a little bit of control over is the inputs, you know, the social media, the food. Yeah, may have some little choice about water. We need to start putting a little bit of thought towards that. I think the average child in America has a chronic illness. I think we have about 60%
Yeah.
of American children have chronic illness. We're not even getting to the obesity part, because obesity is a chronic illness, quite
Yep.
frankly. And it's something I'm very familiar with. Um, but I would say between the inputs, just really start looking at your inputs,
Mhm.
because what you putting in is what's coming out. And you're not conscientious about the things that are going in, then that means you're at the mercy of whatever's being given. And we all know deep down inside that things are being given to us that have challenged us fundamentally, spiritually, fundamentally, physically. And we have to look at that.
Absolutely.
So, one of the first things that I recommend people do is look for their local organic options. Um, there's no way. It's almost like we call for reparations, right? And we
Mhm.
agree with reparate. They owe us. Yes, they do.
Absolutely.
But to repair something means that the damage have stopped being inflicted. So if you're talking about repairing your family's mental health, then you have to start looking at how you can stop some of the damage from being incurred in the first place.
In the first place.
And if your child is going to school and they're eating school lunch, damage. They've done studies that show that the school lunch is, unfortunately, bad comparison, but it's even more poisonous than the prison food system.
It's deep.
So there's things going on around you that you absolutely have to start looking at. So if you have a chance, you live in a place where you can do some organic produce, organic, whatever you can do in that vein. Don't make excuses for it. They have all these cooperative community farming networks. They have a business called Imperfect Produce. It's all kinds of ways to access reduced costs. There's just no way, because those foods are filled with chemicals that are basically filling us all with antibiotics,
Absolutely. Yes.
which is interfering with our body's ability to do what it's supposed to do. And it's to the point where your body literally, it starts to feed on itself, which is where we see the autoimmune disorders and stuff at. So that's one of the first things that we can do, um, is just look at our inputs and see where we can stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
Number one, stop the bleeding.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, especially with young people, if they halfway healthy, if you can even just do that, their body will attempt to make recovery from some of the damage that's being done to it. So that's number one. Number two, I would say, especially for those of us with young children, look, I'm not even um, a disciplined workout person, but I've been one of those people that I use yoga for my mental health.
Right.
And I've always done that. And therefore, my children have been introduced to that. And
Mm-hmm.
therefore, when they encounter problems, they fall back on their training. And my daughter went through a very, very difficult trial. And one of the first things she did when she had a chance was unroll her yoga mat and go down into her poses. I did not tell her to do that. That was falling back on the training. So if you have young kids, start introducing them to those movements, to meditation, and to, some of these activities that it'll carry them a long way. Even if you give up on it, sometimes, if they find themselves in a situation, they'll know what to do based on what you showed them before. So introducing movement, yoga. Now you don't have to be no hardcore, run, nothing like that. We're basically all about just centering the mind and helping them to learn how to control their mind and their breathing, which is basically, what yoga helps you to do. It's a practice that helps you to do that. It's not the
Right.
only way, but that's one of the ways.
Right.
Um, the other thing is if you have health insurance, or you're able, get a profile, get a micronutrient, nutritional profile, and look at the deficiencies that you'll get. I've done this, and it's shocking. You
Yeah.
think you're doing the right thing by your children, but trust me, that food in the grocery store, it look good, but most of it don't have nutritional value worth talking about. And you will know once you do a panel on your child and
Yeah.
see what they're deficient in. And I kid you not, we had a situation with a vitamin D deficiency that was so tough that when we introduced vitamin D3 drops, one of my children said, "Wow, the sun came out. I can see the
Wow.
colors." So I'm sharing not just things that I read or that I studied. This is my experience.
Yeah.
And when a child doesn't feel good, they are going to misbehave. We might as well
Absolutely.
stop it with the videos showing them misbehaving and out of control. Yes, they're out of control. If you go out when you leave for work in the morning and you see children going to school, they're eating hot flamings and drinking some
Yep. They
blue
eat some Takis.
blue dad juice. And then you expect for them to act like they got some sense at school. Good luck. So
Right.
change the
Right.
inputs. Change the inputs. Um, that's one of the first things. And move around. Do something to center your mind. One thing that I love about being in Africa is, walking around with no shoes on.
Yeah.
Because what's happening here is obviously we know food and water, but what about the air? What about the electromagnetic frequencies that we're all being exposed to? When do we get a break and just be able to let our body communicate with itself without all these other interferences? So the walking barefoot in the sunshine, they might call it nature therapy. I don't know what they call it, but those are three things that you can start immediately.
Right
Um,
now.
and it depends on the severity of your situation, but certainly all of those three things will help all of us.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it will help all of us. So we're going to get into more, when we really have time and when we really sit down on Wednesday. And then I also want to share some of the resources, people all over the country that
Mm.
there are available. We're
Yeah.
not even calling them, you
Yep.
know.
We have so many people who have like there's a brother and sister couple on that I'm Facebook friends with. They have a company called Silver Suds, and they provide they started out with soap or whatever, but they provide way more than soap. And they have another company called Doyen, I think. And I would love to even have some of our practitioners who who put together herbs or whatever. If you all are watching, or if you see this, I would love to have you all come on and even talk about what it is that we can use to help to start treating some of the symptoms that we're seeing in not only our children, but in ourselves too. Because, you know, Cicely said something to me a little earlier that it stung, but it was one of them stings that you need. And the truth of the matter is, if our children are sick, so are we. And so we need to be treating ourselves and figuring out what's going on with ourselves too. And I think along the line of us seeing about our children, we'll be able to see about ourselves too. So I don't know what it is that we or who it is. If you're watching, if you see this, reach out to one of us and let us know if you're interested in coming and letting us know what herbal remedies we have for some of these psychoses that our children are or psychoses that our children are starting to develop. We know for a fact, like I said, if you all get a chance, please, before Wednesday, watch The Social Dilemma. If you don't get to watch nothing else, watch The Social Dilemma. These people are literally telling you how this stuff is happening. And it'll give you a glimpse into what they've known for a while that we were going to start to see, and we're living in it right now. But like you said, Cicely, it's all hope is not lost, because we still here and we still breathing. So right. As long as we got air in our lungs and our bodies are warm, we have an opportunity to attack the situation
and fight for our life.
We in a fight for our lives. And people, we got to understand, we are at war when we've been at war for a long time. Now it's coming. Is this new version of a Cold War is way more
insidious.
Covert. Yes, it's way deeper than people can even imagine, and it's happening to us so quickly because we have these things here. And like I was telling Cicely, we're literally like addicted to these things. Even as adults, we find ourselves, like me and my husband was talking about how, like, you literally have to force yourself to say, I'm not gonna pick that phone up. I'm not, like, it's a sickness, and we're all suffering. So, and if we as adults are having such a hard time with it, what do you think these children are dealing with? And many people use these to babysit their children.
Yep.
And because the truth of the matter is, right now, my children are on a device break. I can't get them to quiet down right now. But the truth of the matter is, that's what kids are supposed to be doing. Yeah. They don't supposed to be all quiet, and that's not what it's supposed to be. I'm struggling to even get through this live because I'm like, I'm live. But I know that because we're on a device break, and these kids have tried everything, Cicely. You heard my youngest one a little while ago trying to manipulate me into giving her a device, and she's only 5. So I say all that to say that we have to understand that it's up to us to fight for ourselves and fight for our children.
Absolutely.
And I don't want it to just be women. Men, we need y'all. We need y'all to jump in this fight with us.
Absolutely.
Because these children, we can't do this by ourselves.
And the
We can do
kids
a
are
lot.
suffering. I think that's the most, you know, sometimes, especially as a parent, you feel like I'll trade places with my kid at any point. You don't want to see them suffer. And so I'm just putting it out there that we see that this is happening and that we feel something for our youth. We have to feel something for our youth. We have to give them something more than this. This
Yeah,
is not the world. We didn't get handed a perfect world when we was born, but come on, guys, we
yeah,
got a little more than this. We at
yeah,
least got some of us home cooked food. At least we got some of that.
yeah,
Even in the old days, they actually cooked at school. You know, at least they got a meal. Um, you know, the public schools used to teach music. You don't think that helps children
yeah,
in their development? This is
yeah.
all stuff that most of our children are not getting a chance to do at all. And we're acting like they're supposed to just carry on like some kind of drones and be, well behaved on top of what we have not put in. And
Exactly.
leaving that space open, somebody else to put something in.
And
And
they
then
are
when
putting
they
something.
get behaving in certain ways, we looking like, well, but it's like, do you know what led to them behaving like that? Where were you? So this is my call to the parents, is why I didn't say, we have an all-out community mental health crisis, but we should know we really out our minds when our children are behaving and suffering in the way that they are. Like if you can't see that, you don't want to see, and that's fine. Uninvite yourself. But for
Exactly.
those that have eyes and that are still in the game. When we let's sit down and come up with, some real practical ways in which we can get a handle on our families and alleviate some of our children's suffering.
Yeah.
Even, we all grew up with the family reunion era, the barbecues and the cookouts. We all going through the same thing in real time. Did our foreparents do that to us? Keep us separated from our families? Didn't see anybody, didn't know, half our family, and never got a chance to see people. And even now, we don't even let our kids come to the funerals.
We don't.
You
We
know,
don't.
so we a lot of people like, I'm not my ancestors. No, you not. Because our
Period.
ancestors broke the chains off of our arms and legs and our
Yeah.
necks. Our ancestors broke chains off of our arms, our legs, and our necks. Now
Now
we're
we
gonna
got to
sit
get
here
it
and
out of
let
our
these
head.
people, right? Are we gonna sit here and let these people trash our children?
Man, sis. And when I tell you it's so bad, like I never thought that I would see so many Black children suffering from mental health and drug issues. We got a mental health crisis and we have a drug crisis. The drug crisis started a good while ago, but this new thing that we're seeing is, I don't want to say it's more than what our parents saw, because maybe it's the exact thing that our parents saw.
No, it's not. We're involved in it's levels. You know, you know when somebody is trying to enslave you. They coming, you running, you fighting. You know what's going on. Things have come at us from so many different directions. And then on top of that, there's a huge disinformation campaign to confuse us, to make us feel like you in a grocery store, you don't know what to do. You at a restaurant, you don't know what to do. So um, some of that we got to let go of that. You know, that disinformed mentality. We have to willfully let go of our ignorance and take responsibility. Now, there are some things that are happening on a macro level that we do not have individual control over. So this is not like one of the issues that I had, especially coming out of this last manufactured crisis with the virus, is that the health and healing community, it got real condescending. You know what I mean? And I don't think people need that. I don't think that's helpful, because we all know that we're dealing with higher principalities, or I should say
Yes,
lower principalities,
yes,
you
yes.
know. So they've infiltrated our communities and our lives in a way that are so insidious, we didn't see it coming. And we
Yeah,
didn't know what effects that it was having on us.
yeah,
So you can't just, come down to personal responsibility. You have to come back into the fold
yeah,
and see your family, see your community, and really address things from a micro and a macro level, which is what we're doing. Because I could have just kept my stuff to myself. Okay, I dug my kids up out of a real bad situation. They are thriving. So
yeah,
what? So what? I'm getting calls about other youth in my family, other children that I care about, you know, and I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like what I'm hearing, and it hurts me. So, therefore,
it's tough.
I think that instead of looking at what other healers weren't doing, I had to look at myself and say, well, do
What
you
am I
have
doing?
anything to contribute?
Yeah,
So, I don't have all the answers, but I'm willing to give it what I got, and I'm willing to share what has worked for us and what is working for us, and I'm willing to share what's not working. That's
right,
just how committed I am to moving forward, because when I come out with that part, then I know that it's somebody in the fold that's going to be able to give me what I'm missing and what I need supporting in too. So I'm not hiding anything at this point. It used to be a time where, I've seen a lot of things. I've seen things that they say cannot be healed. And
absolutely.
we're so attached to what the Eurasian culture tells us that even when we say we have a solution and that there's healing for us, we actually get angry. So because of that type of risk. I haven't really been much about, speaking about mental health and a lot
Yeah,
of things, but as you know, over the last couple of years, it's like, come on, man, we got to deal with this mess. So it's on me, and now that it's starting to affect children that I love, hey, the gloves are coming off, and I'm ready to go. So
yeah,
I would say, for people that are interested, share this broadcast with your friends. Join us on Wednesday. Put a little due diligence. You know what I'm saying? Check out some of the current, documentaries. If you feel froggy, I share a lot of resources on New African Image Makers on my page in terms of just, if you're into lectures and that type of thing, books, okay. But do put a little bit of work in, and let's sit down Wednesday and let's really, really put some stuff out there. I have herbal formulas that I've used for my children that have done us very well. Um, and I have good training, and I want to definitely make good on what's been given to me. you
absolutely.
know. Um, so yeah, put a little due diligence in, at
Yeah,
least pick up a documentary,
at
and
least.
let's get in there, let's get down, like they say, get down on our children's level, and look at them eye to eye and really connect with them and see what we can do for ourselves.
Yeah. So Wednesday at 7 p.m. we will be having a discussion, a more in-depth discussion about what's happening with our children. We're going to talk about some solutions that can happen right here and right now as we are in the United States of America with 3Ks. And so what you can do here, if you have the resources to go to the continent, And if you're already on the continent, some resources that you may be able to find there to help. Or once you get to the continent, some resources that you may be able to find to help to get your process going along. I
I
know.
think it's relevant. I think it's relevant for people in Africa as well, because they are adopting a lot of the Western food management
You're
processes,
absolutely correct.
agriculture and industrial food. And there is a rise in heart disease, kidney failure, cancer, child, um, child development
Yeah,
delays,
mental health issues.
all these things are starting to become a problem on the continent due to embracing the chemical, and industrial agriculture. So I, it's relevant. It's relevant. They too are, especially in the cities,
Yes.
their youth are facing the same disconnect, and reaching out to using, self-medicating with illicit, drugs and pills, just like our children. And I'm not here to sugarcoat it. We
You can't.
need to get back to the fundamentals, because if we remember, the fundamentals is what led our ancestors to kick out the colonials. The
Yep.
fundamentals is what led our ancestors to break off the chains,
Mm-hmm.
and the fundamentals will lead us, us addressing the fundamentals in our own circumstances today will lead us to take the next step forward and leave something, for the youth that's coming behind us. Because right now, this is a shit show.
It is a complete
It's
shit
a shit
show.
show.
It is
We got a
definitely.
lot of positive things that the youth are doing that we could talk about, but it's hard to get to when you're literally trying to talk kids out of killing themselves.
Yes. Yes. And that is the first focus, is the fact that so many of our children are either committing suicide. Like, if I need people to start looking at the stats. That I know a lot of times stats are, we have to take them, for who did it and why they did it. And but if you can look at stats and try to decipher what it is that you're looking at, you will see, especially if you look at the stats and then look at what's happening around you. So for me, when I
Exactly.
look at the stats and I
Exactly.
look at what's happening around me, the stats make sense, because
Yeah.
there are
Like,
a lot of attempted to unalive themselves. And I say that because these platforms will flag for certain words and all of that stuff. We have so many mental health concerns. We are at like critical mass. Like, it is bad. It is really, really bad. So many children are self-harming. So many children are self-medicating. Uh, I have I
I'm
have
I'm
family members. You see it, I see it. I have family members who have children who are as young as 12, 13 years old, self-medicating already. And
um,
we have uh adults, our young adults who and teenagers who are struggling with who they are in ways that we I could never imagine. And we can't keep ignoring this stuff. We can't keep not addressing the obvious that's in our face. If we do, we are going to find ourselves in the next 5, 10, 15 years in a situation that we cannot deal with. We'll all be jumping off bridges.
yep. And
So
I think it's clear where this is going.
yeah,
So I'm committed to work with the families and the parents who want to work with us. I mean, this is not. Uh, I'm in no way exempt from the challenges that I'm speaking about.
Absolutely.
Um, but I've been in the trenches, you know, and I know what it means to put the problems on the ropes and come up out of some real nasty stuff.
So
So
before we go, because you and I said we just wanted to let people know what we're gonna be doing on Wednesday. But just before we go, I want you to share with a snippet of what did you see the difference in your children in being here and when you moved them to the continent.
well, I know we all got variations in our lives, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So even with that, um, whew, it's a lot of differences. I hate to throw it out there because I don't want people who are not, called to come back to the land to feel like, that I don't have anything to offer them.
Absolutely.
But the truth of the matter is, I was willing to do what it takes, whatever it
Whatever.
took, to put my children in a better place where they could be themselves. So quite naturally, being in an all black country where, right or wrong, we doing it. Okay.
Yeah.
And my sons know what it means to feel like men where they are at.
Yeah.
My daughter knows what it means to be treated like a young lady where she's at, even if she forgot, what it means
Right.
to be a young lady or a young sister. She's reminded of it on a daily basis,
Yeah.
and she needed that,
Yeah.
and she's thriving in that environment, and so are my sons. Um, when we first went, of course, the middle child was like, "Why?" And I was like, "You don't get it now, but I'm bringing you to the seat of your power." And that's exactly what it is. My children are entrepreneurs, um, landowners. You know what I'm saying? You talk about be all you can be, not in the US military. Come home if you have that
If you
opportunity.
have the opportunity.
And if you don't have the opportunity, if you can see your way, that in and of itself cuts out a lot of the challenges that some of the youth here are going. It has its own set of challenges, but they're very different. And um, I feel that they're in a safer environment. I
Yeah,
don't just feel it. I know they're
they
in a
are.
safer environment. Um, they're rigorously challenged in terms of their language and just learning in general.
Yep.
Uh, I could go on and on. I really, my children came up here in Chicago under the Institute of Positive Education and New Concept School, which is like a 50-year-old Black school institution. It used to be private, but in the last 20 years, they went to the charter school thing, and things that, they're changing. And I've seen so many great things happen from that institution that sometimes I don't even want to talk about what they're doing in Africa because I don't want my people to feel like I'm trying to go in on them. But I'm just saying we ain't doing nothing with these kids. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
not, we not. And I've just some of the stuff that I've seen going. And frankly, it's a lot more we could do with our youth on the continent as well. No
Yeah.
doubt about that. But academically, and as far as just having a being immersed in African culture, it's no substitute for that. And quite frankly, most of the people that travel to anywhere Africa, even if they can't stay, they still feel refreshed. Like right now, we're seeing a lot of youth people who have that understanding send their young people, even if they can only stay a month.
Right.
It puts them ahead. They got something to work with when they come back over here.
You know what? As you say that, you make me think about a brother, one of the brothers that took his family to Tanzania. And he has a small boy, a really small boy. He's probably like, he may be 3, but the way that baby, the way he talked about being on that land, like I would love to have his father on to just talk about how taking his son onto that land, and he may be watching right now. I tagged him for him to be watching. But I would love, if you watching, I would love for you to come and talk about how bringing your son to the land helped, or what you saw in your son. Because even if we can't move, if we can figure out how to even just, like you said, come for a little while, or even get involved in, if you're here and you just ain't got it, because we know it's hard here, it's difficult here, money is tight and it's getting tighter, inflation is choking everybody. There are resources here, and we'll be sharing those resources here with you all to about we have our there's a lot of us all over the country who are into herbs and know what herbs it takes to help clear certain things out, and trying to get our people off all of this medicine, these chemicals and all of this stuff. We have these people. So those, if you're watching right now, share this video. Let your people know that we're gonna be diving deep into what we can do to help our children, which will in turn help ourselves. Those of you who are naturopaths, if you would like to be involved, and if you would like to share some stuff, share your herbal, whatever remedies you maybe have come up with, because a lot of us have come up with some stuff that helps. A lot of us have gone back to some really old stuff that works. So we can share these things with each other and get these kids. We gotta get a hold of our children, y'all. Whatever we gotta do, we gotta get a hold of our children. We gotta save them. Saving our children is gonna save us, because if we don't save them, who the hell gonna take care of us when we get old? They're not gonna be in no shape to take care of us. So we Wednesday at 7 p.m. Breaking the Chains and New African Image Makers will be live. We're gonna do live again.
I'm good with live.
Okay, we'll go live again, and we'll be talking. Y'all excuse my kids, they don't have any devices right now.
They're not bothering me.
So we will be live 7 p.m. Again, if you are interested in joining us, you can join the Zoom, and we'll have room for as many as we can to be able to input how we can help get our children minds back and get our own minds back. Cicely, is there anything else you want to share before we close? You know, everybody watching the Super Bowl right now, so we don't have that many people watching right now, but the playback, what is it?
You know what? I'm just glad that you are here, and walking this path along with the rest of us, that let us know that, okay, yeah, it's the Super Bowl, and that's important for some people, but you can see how we feel about it.
Right.
My thought is on, how I can do what I got to do with the life I have.
Right.
And it don't have nothing to do with the Super Bowl. and that's just one example. That ain't the end all. I'm just saying that to say that, we are showing our level of commitment. This is not something that we do because we don't have nothing else to do. We do
Right,
it because we know what needs to be done, and we are taking responsibility, and we are organizing ourselves, which is what we are supposed to do, because we was called to do it. And so I just appreciate you, just being like, I've been thinking about mental health, and you like, you know what, I have too, you know, and we've been talking about it for about a year or two,
yeah,
and I feel from my vision, the situation is getting worse and worse
it
and
is,
worse.
it is.
Um, and so I feel that this, all of my complaints and uh, observations that I had about, how we've been handling things, I feel that this is the best way for us to move forward, regardless of what other people decide to do. And
Right,
I know that many people will join us. Will we don't need you to test out your drugs on us. Let us do our own, controlled, safe experiments on our own self.
on
Nobody
ourselves.
experiment on me more than I experiment on myself.
Okay,
So because I'm willing to put it out there and put it on the line because I know what's at stake. You
absolutely.
know, my teacher told me that our children are our greatest technology, you know, and they are our latest and our greatest technology. And so if we let them get co-opted, the rest is a wrap.
It is.
And let it be said that we did our part and that we're doing our part. So I just appreciate you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, when it comes to my people, I love my people, right, wrong, or indifferent. They get on my nerves sometimes. I know I get on y'all nerves sometimes, but I love you. And because I love my people, I'm willing to do whatever we need to do because I am my people. Me trying to help you is helping me.
Absolutely.
What happens to your son and your daughter is in effect happening to my children also, because my children have to your children got to live in the world with my children. When we dead and gone, our children are going to be in this world together. How do we want to at least try to guide them to
And
handle
impact
this
them.
as once we leave here? So we have to do whatever we can to make sure that our children, they need to know how to heal themselves. We can heal ourselves from this stuff, y'all. They need to know. As a matter of fact, I have a one of my creams that I made for another reason. I had started when my aunt was sick with cancer, with breast cancer. She was actually in her last phases. Hold on, please close that door. She was in her last phases of life, and her skin was so sensitive she couldn't use nothing, but she needed to use something, and my cream was helping her. It was soothing her. So I made a big jar of it and sent it down to Miami for her, and she used it until she left here. God rest her soul. And then a friend of mine was going through, just out of the blue, she found out she had breast cancer, and um she was having to do chemo and radiation, and I sent her my cream. I just sent it to her. I was like, try this. And she showed me the difference between before she started using it and a week after. And it was just such a great difference. So now I'm working on I want to be able to give it to our people, because it's expensive to make. But if you sick, I don't feel like you should have to buy stuff that's gonna make you better, or make you feel better. So I'm trying to put together a campaign to try to get some donations together so that I can make it, because it's not cheap to make. It's expensive. It's very expensive to make, but it works on, especially I have at least 5 people that I could think of off the top of my head that I sent that cream to. I sent it to them for free, and they was like, this is the best thing that I've ever used on my skin. And they've been giving me this, that, and the third or whatever, and none of that worked. I said all that to say that we have the ability to do these things for ourselves. We don't need all of these other people companies to take care of us. We have our own companies who have what we need. Sometimes it has to be expensive, unfortunately, because we're not growing it. But that's another opportunity for somebody to start growing this stuff so that those who know how to use it won't have to charge so much,
right,
to get it out to you, because it's costing them so much to get it made. I know one of the brothers, he sell colloidal silver. He has, and when they send you the stuff, their products, they send you a little packet that tell you how to use everything. Like they give you a whole rundown on it. They had the best service ever. They get you stuff right away, and they make sure that you know how to use it. When my daughter was having some issues with her menstrual cycle, I was able to call them. We have these resources, we just got to use them. I was able to put my daughter in contact with the sister, and she's able to tell my daughter, okay, this is what you need. I went and I bought it all, everything that she said my daughter needed, and we used it, and it worked, and it was all natural stuff.
Yeah, I need to know about that one too.
Yeah, and I'm telling you this, like we have these resources. I want us to be sharing. I know you got a lot of resources. Like I said, y'all, we about to end this Wednesday, 7 p.m. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna be live, and we're gonna go a little deeper. Hopefully by then we'll have a few people we can have to pop in and talk about some of the stuff that that we can do to help. And we'll just go from there. It's probably we're probably gonna have to take the time to just do it as often as we possibly can.
Yeah.
And
I'll go ahead and start sharing stuff related to the conversation too on my New African page. I think that's probably my best platform. Probably Twitter. I'll probably share some on Twitter too. Why not? Yeah. So if you check me out at the New African Image Makers page on Facebook, or under my name, Cicely McClinton, on Twitter, I'll be sharing. I'm gonna come out with some stuff for y'all. Y'all to look at and just be checking out, and just kind of immersing yourself in the idea of just taking your power in your hand.
We got to, and we have enough of our own people who know what to do, that even if you don't know what to do, if you don't know how to take your power back, it's enough of us who know. Between, I'm in Atlanta, Cicely's in Chicago right now. We both go back and forth between here and Ghana. We have practitioners in Ghana. We have practitioners here. There's somebody who knows how to help. And what I don't want you all to do is don't be shy. You are not alone. Don't be shame. You are not alone. We're all dealing with this at the same time. We're all having the same issues and the same concerns. So you don't have to be embarrassed to talk about the fact that your kid is struggling or you are struggling.
Yeah.
We have to work together in this. And part of that is we're gonna have to kind of show our face for real. And I know Cicely's willing to, I'm willing to. I'll be sharing some of my struggles. and some of the struggles that we're having with our children. We'll be sharing both of those things, and she's going to share and help us understand how we can get to the other side of this. Even though she's still working through it, I know that you're willing to help us to get started, because you've been through part of this already.
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of positive growth on behalf of not just my daughter but myself, you know. So and we know about dark places and white spaces, you know what I'm saying? So we not it's just saying that. And also, you know, I got some good white folk sources too. I ain't gonna discriminate when it comes to knowledge. We just have to put things in a proper perspective, you know.
Absolutely.
I'll be sharing a lot of resources and information up until Wednesday, and then we can take it from there.
All right. Cicely, I appreciate you so much for taking the charge on this. This is when I saw you, when you said it, and you've been saying it. I really just felt like, you know what, it is time. We this is emergent. We have reached a critical point here, and I thank you for taking the charge on this. And I'm willing to get behind you and push. Whatever you need from me, I'm gonna be reaching out to my resources, like I said, and I'm here. Whatever you need, just let me know.
Thank you so much.
Anybody out there who wants to offer whatever services or input or ask questions, if you have your questions ready on Wednesday, have your concerns ready on Wednesday. Let's just be ready to start diving into this. Some of it we may not be able to get to everything on Wednesday. We'll just start figuring out how we can periodically get this stuff in so we can help as many people as we possibly can.
Yep. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. This is Bakita Muhammad and Cicely McLennan. I am Breaking the Chains. She is
New African Image
Makers. And we are going to work together to help our community heal and grow.
Yep.
Love y'all.
Yep.
We'll see y'all Wednesday.
Good night.
Good night.